You are good. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi everyone. Good evening. We are into our fourth day of core Java sessions by Mercy Technologies. So we completed three Java sessions where we had hands-on sessions with multiple programs. So by this time, I think you should be at least well aware of how a Java program works, what are the steps, how do we write, etc., etc. So in this class, we would be discussing more about the data types and variables. So let me quickly write the agenda for today. Let me open this, open with Dropback. Okay. So today we are in class 4. We are in class 4. We are in class 4. And what we will be dealing? We'll be dealing with two important things, which is Java data types. And then the second one is Java variables. These are very important topics. These are very basic topics, guys. See, from now you'll be writing many Java programs, and this topic will come to you every day, every moment, and every program that you write. So having this basic very clear is very important because this is something that you'll be encountering in every Java program that you would be writing from now. So let me just open a presentation that I've just written. So what is the agenda for today? We would be discussing about the Java data types, and we would be discussing about the Java variables as I have already written in our notes. And on a high level, we would be discussing about the various data types that are present that I'm showing to you in this diagram. Do not get frightened by looking at this big picture. You'd be understanding this bit by bit as we move further in the session. And then I'd be discussing or explaining you about this table where what are the different types of primitive data types and what are its actual values. And again, I'm saying do not get carried away with this much amount of data. You would be getting this slowly, and you'd be able to understand it by the end of the session. And then we'd be speaking about variables. And as every day, our main focus is the hands-on coding. Okay. So let me quickly take you to my Java notes that I generally take. Okay, so what we are discussing in this today's class is the data types. Okay, data types. So now there is a classification in Java about the data types. Let me quickly give you the high level classification. Then I'd be taking you deeper into what these actually mean. Right? There is two high level classification. One is primitive data types, and then the other is derived data types. Data types. Okay, what is primitive data type? What is derived data type? By the way, what is primitive data type? What is derived data type, etc. We would be discussing about it. But before that, let me just quickly open a notes that I've written so that it would be like a runner of whatever we'd be discussing. So guys, this I'd be sharing it towards the end of the session. I'd be discussing about all of these. Okay. I'd be discussing about the whole notes. I'm just scrolling it. I'm just scrolling it to give you a high level overall picture that you'd be discussing about all these things in today's class. Okay. So let me go here. By the way, what is a data type? What is a data type? We have by now discussed programs in our previous lectures. let's see what one of the program that I'm opening. Let me open my first program. Okay, let me open my first program. Here in the line number 3, you can see there is a public static void main. As I told you, this statement would be recognized by JRE and it would tell JVM to go and say that this is a main method. Here, if you can see, ARGS, this is called as a variable, and string array is nothing but a data type. This is just an example. Why I'm telling about this one to you is you have already seen a variable, you have already seen a data type. This is something that you can correlate, as we move further. So let me just quickly take you to the primitive data types. What are the primitive data types? Let me write. Okay, we have already seen a few primitive data types. Okay, we have already seen, or we have previously, if you see, we had a session on printing different literals. We had printed different literals. So you should be actually able to connect these dots as I write the data types. One is byte. And there is one more, which is short. There is one more, which is int, long, float, A6, double, A7, boolean, A8, char. Guys, these are the primitive data types that are given by Java. These are the primitive data types that are given by Java. And if you remember, in our yesterday's class, we have written few programs of saying I'm printing a string literal, I'm printing an integer literal, right? That is a combination, by the way. This is a floating point literal, right? This is a Boolean literal. This is character literal. So yesterday, if you see, we had already printed all this, so which means you are at least little bit aware of this terminology. Okay, so it's the same thing. We call them as primitive data types, the ones that we have already seen. There are different data types, and in that classification, we have these primitive data types that we can see. So what about the derived data types? What about the derived data types? Derived data types are something that are derived from primitive. You can say something like that. Or what I can say is, like, these are user defined, either defined by user, or these are defined by Java itself back to us. These are either defined by user or by Java. So examples I can say, or let me not put bullet points because there are so many. Okay, here we have only a finite number, which is 8, but later on for the derived data types, we have many. I'm just giving you one such example, which is string, and one more I can say integer. One more I can say is what I can think of, array list. I can say hash map. Right, these are the classes that are already defined by Java. Right, the string is also a class that is defined by Java. Class means a data type that is defined by Java, and integer is also a data type that is already defined by Java. Let's say you want to write your own data type. Let's say I write a class called employee. That is also a derived data type. Or I can say, let's say I write a class called student, then that also becomes a derived data type. So guys, in short, there are these primitive data types which are finite, which are 8 in number, and there are derived data types which are I don't say infinite, but there are so many. A few that we can see over here is string, integer, array list, hash map, and these are given by Java, and there are so many other things as well. And let's say you write your own class, then that also becomes a derived data type. So by this, at least you should be able to construct a definition. What is a data type? Let's say there is a particular value, and what type of it, or what is the type of it, to actually get an indication of it, we use these data types. As I told you previously yesterday, let me quickly open one program. Here I'm saying it is a character, it is a character, it is a character, it is a character. These are character literals, by the way. So Java should understand that this is a character literal. This is something which is related to character. So similarly, if we have a data type that is corresponding to a character, then we are saying that, okay, this value is of type character. Similarly, we can see some value of type long, of type int. By the way, I'll be discussing about all these things in the programs, step by step. I want to even cover what are Java variables now, so that you'd be well aware of what the theory points are, and you can correlate whenever we are writing the notes for today. Okay, I mean, whenever we are writing the what do you call programs for today. So let me quickly tell you what Java variables are. Let me open my notes. I'll tell you what.
Karthik, could you please cover data types first with the diagram, and later point of time we can go with variables.
Yeah, okay. That should be good. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, okay, guys. So let me, before I jump into the Java variables, maybe I'll tell you what these are. These are the various data types, the primitive data types that I've already discussed with you, right? And these are the derived data types. Now, let me show you the diagrammatic representation for the same. Let me show you the diagrammatic representation for the same. Okay. So here you can see this tree is something that is telling us these are the various data types that are present in Java. As I've already written, there are primitive data types and there are non-primitive data types. Let's see the structure. In primitive data types, there are non-numeric types and numeric types. Non-numeric types, it is
I
called
think
as
you
bull.
opened in Prezi, right? Could you open there because it is very very small letter.
Okay,
Yeah, Prezi. I
then
think same thing you copied. You
yes.
can zoom as much as possible. Yeah.
Okay, then that is this better now?
Yes, this is
Okay,
far better, I think. Yes,
okay,
even you
that's
can
great.
little bit also zoom it whenever you teach. Yeah,
Okay, sure.
perfect, perfect.
So guys, this is the data types in Java, and this tree is something that we will be learning now. Uh, so as I told you, there are two different types of data types in Java. One is a primitive data type, and then the other is a non-primitive data type, or you can call it as derived data type. This is just a different name, right? If I can go further, what are the different primitive data types? In primitive data types, there are numeric data types and non-numeric data types, right? The name itself suggests numeric means something that is related to a number, right? It is something that is related to a number. So when you say number, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1.5, 2.5, etc. It can be a floating point number or it can be a whole number, right? So let's see towards our left hand side. These are non-numeric data types, which means it has nothing to do with a number. Boolean is nothing but true or false. Yesterday we have seen there are two possible values for a Boolean literal, which is true or false, and then character. As I previously showed you one more, the program that we have written yesterday, any single character written inside a single quote would be treated as a character data type. Okay, so these are non-numeric data types. Now let's move to the numeric data types. These are the numeric data types. When I say numeric data types, they are related to numbers. As I previously told you, the number can be a whole number, an integer, or number can be a floating point number. What are floating point numbers? Again, the same. Yesterday, we have seen the floating point numbers. Okay, they are having a decimal point to it. Any number that has a decimal point to it would be considered as a floating point number. And we can see a float and double. These two are two different classifications in floating point numbers. Okay. Uh, let's quickly try to see a few examples. Okay. The same thing, let's see, as and in the non-primitive data types, it is string, array, etc., etc. Okay. Now let's try to see a few examples. I am putting a few examples over here. Okay. Now, like for example, I will write a small program or here. What is a byte? So here we have seen in the numeric data types. So let's say, what are a few examples of byte? What are a few examples of bytes? I can say one, any number which is 1, 6, 90, etc. I'll be giving you the ranges, by the way. So again, this is something, these are whole numbers. Okay. The same goes with short as well. Let me go over here. And the same goes with int as well. So, and the same goes with long as well. So actually the point what I want to say over here is these are numeric data types and these are holding a few integer types values. I mean, these are not having decimal points. Let me quickly maybe write a program to actually demonstrate what it actually means for you. Okay, so let me quickly write, or let me close our previous programs just to be very clear on what we are writing for today. Okay. Now what I would do is we follow the similar pattern every day, right? What do I need to do? I would need to create a new Java class for us to actually understand what these primitive data types are. First, let me do that. Okay, I can say class variable. So I just want to name this class as.
You have the notes, right, Karthik? Can you please open all the steps? Then we can. I mean, the 4 steps previous class, right? Like
Okay.
creating, storing, compiling.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yes. So guys, this was our initial class notes. Okay. Let me give you a quick revision of whatever we learned in our previous one. So what do we need to do to write a Java program? And the second step was to save. The third step was to compile, and the fourth step was to run that Java program. So let's use these 4 steps now to create our first example to understand the data types. So what I did, so let me try to complete my point number 1. Give me a second. Okay, so there is this class variable 1. So what do I need to do? I would need to click on language, click on J, select Java. Okay, so I would need to select Java now.
Yeah, please increase the font also.
Yes, I need to select Java. And as I told you previously, once I open the curly brace, I should close the curly brace also. And what is our next step for every program that we are writing till now? It is public static void main. And in this, it is string array of arguments. Okay, string array of arguments. And I just open my curly brace and I close my curly brace. Guys, if you see, as I previously told you also, here arguments is a variable and there is a data type. This is a derived data type and that is a string array, right? This is a string array. This is also something that you can correlate as we move further in our class for today. So in this program, what we are trying to learn is we'd be trying to learn about the initial data types, and let's see what these are. Okay, so what I want to do, I would need to write comments just for my understanding. As I previously told you, these comments would be ignored by compiler when it compiles the Java program. It is only for the understanding purpose of the programmer. Okay, so let me quickly write. I would like to see print I can say byte data type. So something like this. What I want to do is, I want to take byte and maybe I want to name that byte as B, right? And I want to just say, I want to close this with a semicolon. Okay. Now, in my second step, what I want to do is maybe, as I previously told you over here, we would be having some integer number values to these byte, short, int, and long, right? Let me just make this B having a value of, let's say 10. Okay. I just want to quickly check if I'm able to print this byte or not. System.out.println. So what I want to do, I want to print B. Okay. So what I did, guys, as I told you, byte is a particular data type. What I did is I've taken a variable, right? I'm assigning a particular value called 10 and I want to print it. Now, let me go to the steps that we actually used for writing it. Like step number 1 is done, which means I have written my first Java program. So I have to do the second one, which is to save, right? So here, what I do is I want to double click on variable, right click, copy, and then file. I want to do save as. So what do I need to save it as? I have copied the class name already, variable1.java. Right? If you can see here, we have already written the same. So I have to save it as class name.java. What is my class name? My class name is variable1 and I'm saving it like this. Okay. So now my step number 2 is also over. Let me go to my step number 3, which is compilation. Right. I should go to my the place where I have saved the program. So I've created a folder called Mercy on desktop. I just opened that. So here you can see I have written a class called variable1. So what I do is I will come here and say cmd, and in the new command line, let me maximize this and maximize as much as possible. Right. So what do I need to do? I need to compile this. What is the command for compilation, guys? It is javac class name dot java. So let me go quickly over here. I'll say variable1. I'm just copying this class name and do java c and then right click dot java. Sorry, dot java. So when I do this, my compilation should be successful. What is my indication? So here you can see there is nothing, there is no problem whatsoever. So that is why we don't have anything. So in this way, what I'm trying to explain is we should be able to see one dot class file, which is variable1. Let's try to quickly print this variable1, which is Java and the class name. This is the command to execute the program, by the way. What is the command? It is Java class name. So I'm using the same thing. Let me click on enter. So you can see this, guys. So a value called 10 is printed on my console. So what I just wanted to demonstrate over here is we have a byte data type, and we would be we were able to take that byte data type, assign a particular value to it, and able to print it. So similarly,
Thanks,
in
Karthik.
my
I see that there is a relation between variables and data types, right?
yes.
Yeah, I understood that. That's why you are about to cover variables. Yeah, you can take it however you want. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
You can,
so
I mean, my suggestion would be like you can show that diagram, right? Byte short, int long, then like,
hmm,
then you can go with variables. Yeah, you have the freedom. You can take it. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
So guys, I just want to come over here. In this small example, what we have done is we have taken a byte data type, and in byte data type, we were able to see that there is a particular value. It got assigned to our variable, and we are able to print it. So in this program, guys, knowingly or unknowingly, what we tried to do was we were able to take a data type. A data type, we were able to take a variable and print it. So in this way, we just at least got high level overview of two concepts that we are trying to cover today. What those two are? Those two are nothing but the data types and then the variables. Okay. So guys, I want to give you, I just want to maybe, since we are already over here, let me try to give you a high level example or high level definition of what a Java variable is, and then maybe take this further to whatever we had an agenda for today. Just give me a second. So what is a variable, by the way? Variable. Let's try to take the example that we have already written. Okay, when I'm saying byte b, so I'm calling b as a variable. So when I say b is a variable, what I actually mean, I mean that there is some value called 10, by the way, right? That 10 should be assigned here, which means there should be some container, or there should be a place that actually says, okay, I hold 10. Which means there is a particular, what I can say, a container called b, and inside b, we have a value called 10. So in other words, what we can call a variable as? A variable, a very simple example is variable act as storage to store actual values. So, see, in simple words, guys, we have a particular value. We want to store it somewhere, right? We have already stored it. But to hold that, we need a particular, we can say a handle, or we need a particular thing that actually we call that as variable. So in our example, we already have a value called 10. We want to store this somewhere. That storing at that reference, what we are naming it as, that we are naming as a variable. Now, since we have some high level overview on what are the different primitive data types, and what are derived data types, and what are variables, let's try to connect the dots, bit by bit. I will like to open my notes and show you, or just maybe give you a high level overview of what a variable means. So let me just quickly read out, guys. If you want to develop a program, we need to manage many values. To store these values, we use variables, right? So in our program, we need to manage many values. To store those values, we use variables. Okay. And as I have previously written, variables are nothing but the containers for storing the data values, right? These are nothing but the containers for storing the data values. So how do we declare and how do we initialize the variable? Let's quickly go with the syntax over here. So what is this? We have the declaration syntax. We have the declaration syntax, which is data type, and then variable name. Variable name. Example that I can give for this one is just variable name. One example that I can give for this one is byte b. So we have already seen a program over here. What is that? Byte b. You can see this. Byte b, right? This is one byte that we have written. So similarly, what is that? A data type and then the variable name. Data type is byte, the variable name is b. And this is something that you call as declaration. This is something called as a declaration. So there is one more way of dealing with the variable, that is initialization, that I will say data type underscore data type. So, and then I will say variable name, I will say equal to, and what is that? I'll say value, right? This is one more way of initializing. This we call as initialization. I will give you one example for this. Byte b equal to 10. This is an example, and this what we call this is called as initialization. This we call as initialization. By the way, do not get confused, guys. Just take these examples so that you can correlate. And this we have already covered in other multiple programs that we have already done till now. So this should be easy for you to correlate the things. Now, what I want to do over here is give you a little bit more examples. Instead of writing the code, I want to just give you a few more examples. What I want to give examples, let's say int as a count. So what I want to do over here is, let's say there is a variable called count. In this count variable, I want to maintain a number that keeps on increasing. This is just one example, or maybe I want to say float salary.
Yeah, could you
Float.
please increase the font again? Sorry.
Okay, sure. It's good now.
Yeah, it's perfect. Thanks.
Okay. Float salary, right? This int count, I'm using declaration. So let's say in float salary, I want to say maybe 50,000.75. Right. This is the float salary, and let's say the 75 paisa is also his salary. So which means it's not just a whole number, but it is having a floating point value. And as I told you yesterday, if we write f at the end of it, then Java considers this as floating point. If not, it considers by default as a double number, which we'll be seeing, as we go further into the next diagram. So let's say I have one more. Let's say I have one more string. What I want to name. Let's say I have a variable called name. Okay. So what is the name that I'm giving? Let's say I give Mercy. Let's say I want to give it as Mercy. Okay. So here, what I want to tell you over, guys, is the ones that I'm highlighting right now on my left hand side towards my equal to. These are called as variables. What is a variable? Variable acts as a storage to contain the actual values. So here we have salary. This is a variable and it is containing 50,000.75, right? We have name as a variable. It is containing a string called Mercy. So on our right side towards to our equal to symbol, these are the actual values, right? These are the actual data types, and towards our left hand side we have the variable names. This contain the data types that are present in our declaration or initialization. So these are the few examples that I wanted to tell you so that you can correlate with this topic of variables and data types. So what I want to do now, let me quickly give you a few, let's write a few programs to actually understand these things even very well. Okay. So, but even if I even before I go to write the programs, what I want to tell you over here is let me open the presentation so that it would give you even a better picture. Okay. So in this data types, so here you can see what we have seen previously. The ones that we have actually taken as a few examples. So here you can see towards my right hand side, string, what I named string Mercy. That is what I named. And there is this array. You can see public static void main string array of args, right? We have something called array in it. Okay. And then in the numeric types, what we did, we tried to print one byte and we have seen the output, right? And we tried to take salary as an example to name it as float, right? What we even thought is if we do not include F symbol, then that would be treated as a double. Okay. And like this is how you can correlate the different data types with this diagram. So this is not a big one, guys. You can just but very important thing is you need to, I don't say you need to memorize or mug up or something, but these are very, very important things. If you do not have this diagram in your mind, or if you do not know all these things, then you need to struggle while writing the different codes. Like for example, you need to know when to take a float, when to take a double, right? You need to know that when to take a string, etc., etc. So these are important things. So that is why like you have to learn this in the sequence that we are going on right now. So let me even, since we are familiar with this diagram now, I want to give you some size chart of whatever the primitive data types are. So guys, as I told you previously, we have various primitive data types. They are Boolean, byte, short, int, long, float, double, and character. Boolean, byte, short, int, long, float, double, and character. As I told you, we have written a small program. What it says, we are saying byte b equal to 10 or something. This chart tells me that byte can hold the values from minus 128 to 127. So which means it can hold up to memory of 1 byte or 8 bits. So let's say my programmatic expectation is to hold a small value, then I can go to byte, because I will not take unnecessary memory. For example, let's say I want to have a count from 1 to 10, right? There is no point of going to long because it holds 8 bytes, right? It holds 8 bytes, but my requirement is to store only the numbers till like 1 to 50 or 1 to 100, let's say. So we are misusing the memory, or we are taking some data type that is not required for us. So we should be in a way comfortable in these sizes also, so that we can choose the proper data type. So here you can see this, guys. Byte data type holds the values from minus 128 to 127. Short can hold from minus 32,768 to plus 32,767. Similar is the one that is being stored to you in this table. But important thing is, if your variable range is in a particular range, then you should go for that only. If you can play around with int, you should not be taking long. That is the only agenda of showing this table to you. One more important thing that you need to see over here is Boolean is taking 1 bit, byte is taking 8 bits, short is taking 16 bits, int is taking 32 bits, long is taking 64. So if you can see over here, you should actually be knowing the sequence. First, it is byte, followed by short, followed by int, followed by long. Byte, short, int, long. Byte, short, int, long. Byte, short, int, long. You need to know this sequence, right? Starts with byte and it goes until long. For what? For a whole number. For a Boolean, it is only true and false, and 1 bit is enough, right? So for a float and double, this is the range. For a character, again, it is 2 bytes. So guys, the important points to be remembered over here in this table is you should know what is the sequence, or what, from where it starts and to where it goes. It starts from byte and it goes to long. So this is very important. And only when you know these, you can intelligently choose the variables. Let me go back. If I have to choose a few things, since we are now familiar with these, let me try to quickly write a few programs to make you even more familiar with whatever we have learned till now. So what I want to do, let me quickly say, click
Yeah,
create a new program.
you can go with same class also, Karthik. No issues. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Then instead of creating multiples, let's try to play around with this one only. So we have already seen byte, correct? We have already seen byte. Now, let's say I want to take something related to int data type. Okay, I want to take something related to int data type. What I want, instead of byte, I'll say int. I will say int. I'm not changing any variable or anything, by the way, guys. So what I did, instead of taking a byte data type, I've taken an int data type. Let me quickly save this. Let me quickly save this. And let's see if there is any change. What is our output? Our output is 10. Let's see if there is any change. Okay. What I want to do over here is I want to delete my dot class file. Right click and say delete. Okay. So let me clear my console. The command for clearing the console is cls. So what is the command for compiling? It is javac class name. What is my class name, by the way? My class name is variable1. I say copy and variable1 dot java. Okay. So let's say I say enter. Yes, I don't have any problem. There should be a dot class file that got generated. Let's quickly cross check. Yes, there is a dot class file that got generated. Now let's run this java and then variable1. So when I can say this, the same output we are getting. Why? What is the reason? Because as I have previously told you, there is a range. There is a range that can be held in byte and int. Byte can hold from -128 to 127. Int can hold from some this big number. So it means the same thing you're trying to do. The 10 is in the same range, right? 10 is in the same range. So even byte is capable to hold this. Even int is capable to hold this. What I want to say is, like, if you are choosing an int data type, whenever you can use byte, then you are just unnecessarily misusing the memory. Okay. But in general practice, we use integer in most of our coding. But as a programmer, or when somebody asks you in an interview, why do we have these data types, etc., etc., you should be in a position to defend, saying that this is the reason, we have different data types. Now, let's quickly try to play around with our programs. Let's quickly try to play around with this programs. I want to just create, or since I already have this one, we have a declaration over here, and this, what I want to just comment this. Okay. So what I want to do over here is, I just want to say this is declaration. Right. This is a declaration. We do not see this value initialized. Now, I want to just make initialization example. Okay. Let me just quickly take one more class so that I'll say file new class, and to make this as variable 2. Okay. Let me quickly select this as Java. I want to open my curly brace and I want to close my curly brace. So again, what do I need to do? Public.
Yeah, font size please increase.
Okay.
You're at max.
Yes,
Okay,
I'm
okay,
at
sorry.
max. Yeah. Public static void main. Okay. So what I say, string array of arguments. Okay. String array of arguments. What I want to do over here. Previously, we have seen an example of declaration. Let's see an example of initialization. Int x equal to 200. So what I did, instead of declaring it just and then initializing, I'm doing both the things in the same line. Let's try to see if this works. System dot out dot println system.out.println. What I want to do, I want to print X, right? I want to print X. Let's try to quickly save this. I'm copying this class name, by the way. File, save as. I'm removing this, right click, paste, and I want to save as .java file. Yes, I saved this. Let me clear. Let me clear. What is my command to compile? It is javac class name dot java. Yes, I don't have any problems. Let me cross check if the .java file got generated or not. Yes, variable 2, we have the .class file. Yeah, from .java, we have the .class file. So what is my command to run? It is java and then class name. I say enter. So here you can see, guys, we have the output printed.
Yeah,
We
please
have the
increase the
output
font
printed.
size also. Command prompt, Karthik. Please
Yeah,
increase the font size. Yeah, it's visible now. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, great. So we have Java variable, and then we have this one over here. So which means what I just wanted to emphasize over here in this program is in the same line, we have assigned a value to our variable called X, and this is called as initialization. So this is called as initialization. So previously we have just seen declaration, and now we have seen initialization. So guys, here I just want to say one thing. If you can see, we have a method called main, or before even I go there, let me quickly write some notes. Okay, so that these are important points that you need to remember. Okay. Variable declaration. So what is the variable declaration? Let me quickly copy it and paste it over here. Variable declaration. I need to copy this and paste it. Okay. So I will say one more, which is variable initialization. Initialization. So what is this? This is nothing but our variable initialization. Copy, and I'm pasting it over here. So I want to emphasize on one thing, guys. What is that? Here we have this main method. Inside this main method, we have a variable called X. We have a variable called X, right? Any variable that is declared inside a method is called as a local variable. Any variable that is declared inside a method is called as a local variable, and the scope of that variable is until that method lasts, right? Which means this variable is visible only inside this method, right? So here I'd like to repeat, inside the main method, we have a variable called X. We call X as the local variable because it is declared inside a method. And what is the scope? The scope of this local variable is inside the method. Let me write this down so that these are the important points. Any variable declared method is called local, is called as local variable, right? So just give me a second, guys. Okay. Okay. So I just want to. Sorry. Okay. So here X is called as a local variable that we have already seen. Now we have even spoken about the scope. What is the scope? The scope of the local variable is inside this method, right? Let's quickly try to play around in this program. Let's quickly try to play around in this program. What I told you is I told you the local variables scope is inside this method. So what I want to do is I want to do something like this. I want to do something like this. I told you that we can have a variable that can be inside the method and it is visible, right? What I did is before I even have declared the variable or initialized the variable, I tried to use this. On line number 5, I'm trying to use this variable. On line number 6, I have done the declaration. Let's quickly see what will Java say if I do something like this. Let me save this. Let me save this. I can say, come over here. I want to delete my .class file. I want to delete my .class file. Okay, so I'm coming over here. I want to say Java C. My class name. What is my class name, by the way? This is variable to copy. I'm doing dot Java. When I do this, here you say there is an error. What it says, system.out.println, you're trying to print X. There is something called variable X, and you are not able to find. You cannot find that symbol called X. Why is it so? Because you have declared it on line number 6, but you are trying to use on line number 5. So what will compiler do is like it will go sequentially line by line, line by line. So you should declare this variable before you actually use it. Okay, so let me write it down. Let me write it down. Variable should be declared before it is used. Again, there is even one more very important point, guys. What is that? I would go to the same program. What I want to do is I will try to use this after I declare only. I will try to use this after I declare only. But what I want to do is I do not want to initialize this. I just want to declare. So here, what I'm doing is I have a variable called X, and line number 6, I'm trying to print this. Line number 6, I'm trying to print this, and I have declared it on line number 5. Let's see what happens. What I do is file, save. Okay, here I saved. Now let's try to compile this. Let's try to compile this. Okay, so what is this? Java C. Java C. What is my command? Variable2 dot Java dot Java. So before I even run this, let me try to delete my .class file. Oh, we do not have the variable2 .class file. The reason is we were having a compilation issue previously. Now, let's see if this has any problem. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to compile this program. Oh, there is a problem again. What it says? It says variable X might not have been initialized. Variable X might not have been initialized. Where is it? Line number 6. Let's try to see what is that. Line number 6 says the variable called X is not being able to get initialized. So it says that there is a rule which says you cannot use a local variable before it is initialized. You cannot use a local variable before it is initialized. This is a rule. Let me quickly write down. Local cannot be used before it is initialized. This is very important to be noted, guys. This is very important to be noted, guys. Okay. A variable cannot be a local variable. I'm not speaking about all variables, guys, and there are different types of variables: static variable, local variable, the class level variable, etc., etc. These things we would be learning in details in our further classes, but right now what we are learning is about the local variables. Okay, so let's move ahead with even more things that we can actually see. This is something that we have already seen yesterday. This is something that we have already seen yesterday. We have a integer variable. We got an error saying that it cannot be used before we have initialized this. Now, what I want to do is I want to initialize this to a particular value, right? I want to initialize this to a particular value. Now, what I want to print, I just do not want to print just like this. I want to print something like this. What do I want to print it as? I want to print it as result equal to 10. I want to print as result equal to 10. This we have already seen, but how to do this one? We have to take this result equal to as a string and append it to the integer value. So how do we do it? I think we have already seen this in our previous classes. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking a double quotes. And I want to place this result equal to this string inside this double quotes. I have copied that string and I pasted it over here. And this plus symbol is the one that actually appends. So what I want to do is result equal to is a constant one. Result equal to is something that I want to print. And later I want to take this value that I have already assigned over here. Let's see what will be the output. So what I'm doing is I'm saving this one. Let me quickly do it once more. Java C class name. Let's say copy class name dot Java. What we did over here? We did nothing. We just compiled it. Now let's try to run it. Java, then variable. So what is this, guys? We have a integer data type 10 and we have a string data type which is derived data type. What we did, we combined both the data types and we have printed the same over here. Okay, we have printed the same over here. What we did, this is a primitive data type, right? This is a derived data type or a non-primitive data type. We are able to combine both the data types and can be able to print on line number 6. Okay, what I want to do, I would like to take notes. Variables can be and printed or used. Okay, so this is
Yeah,
one more
combined.
important thing.
Combined. Spell mistake in combined.
UMB. Yeah, okay. Variables can be combined and can be printed or can be used in the further things. Now, we have seen about the declaration part. We have seen about the initialization part. Let's try to play around with these two things in our next Java program. What I want to do is I want to say file, new. I will say class. What is my class name? My class name is, I just want to name this as variable 3. Okay, I want to name this as variable 3. What is the next thing? I should select language. I should select Java. Okay, so I'm opening the curly brace. The moment I open, I have to close my curly brace. This is all good. Let me try to write a main method. Public static void main. And then here string array arguments. Okay, string array of arguments. I have closed it over here. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to just play around a few things. I just want to play around a few things. What I have over here, I will say int. I have a variable called x. Okay, I have a variable called x, and I want to initialize that to a value called maybe 600. Okay, I want to initialize that value to be 600. Okay, now there can be multiple variables in a method, guys, multiple local variables in a method. What I would like to do is I'll say int y. I'm taking one more variable, but here what I want to do is I want to initialize this new variable to my old variable, right? I'll say x. Okay, so what I did, I have taken a variable called x. Now I have declared one more variable called y, and that y I'm initializing to the value of x. Let's try to quickly print and see what happens. system dot out dot println. So what I want to print? I want to print x equal to plus x. So I'm printing x. I would like to even print a value for y. I want to print y. Let's see. Let's see what will happen. I want to save this. I double click over here. I say copy, file, save as. And I say save as. Here, what I want to do, I'll say right click dot Java. So I created a new Java class. I'm saving it as variable3 dot Java. Let me quickly open my console. I'll clear my previous things. I'll say Java C class name dot Java dot Java. I don't see any problems whatsoever, which means we can have more than one local variable inside a method. We can have more than one local variable inside a method. There is no problem in compilation. Let's quickly write. We can have more than one local inside a method. We can have more than one local variable inside a method, which is we are good. Now let's try to run this and see what happens. Java and then local variable. So here you can see, guys, x value 600, y value 600, x value 600, y value 600. Why is it 600? Because we have now taken two variables. One variable is having a value of 600. Now there is one more variable. It is also having the same value, which means we are initializing one variable with the value of another variable. This is also something which is very important to be noted. Let me quickly write down that also for you. We can initialize one variable to another variable. So this is one more important point, guys. We can have multiple variables. We can have more than one variables. And then one more thing that we can do is we can initialize one variable with another variable. So this is nothing but assigning. This we call as assigning variable to another variable. So what is this? Just give me a second, guys. So what is this? We are actually doing one thing over here. Assigning one to another. This is what we are doing here. What we are doing, we are assigning one variable to other. So what is one variable? We are assigning y as a variable to another variable, which is called as x. So this is one more terminology. I mean, in a way we are saying is we are initializing the value of y with another value. That indirectly means that we are assigning this particular variable to another variable. Okay, so let's even try to further play around in the same program. Let's try to further play around in the same program. What else can we do is let's try to do something like this. Let me quickly remove this one. What I would like to do is I will remove everything. I'd like to just play around with this program only. So what I do is I have a variable called x, and let's say I have one more variable called y, and let's say I have one more variable called z, and I want to initialize that to a value, maybe say 100, and then I have one more variable called m. Okay, I have four variables right now. And what I want to do is In my next line, this is what, guys? Only initializing only one variable, but there are other variables which are just declared and we did not have any values to it. So what I want to do is I will say x equal to maybe 50. What I do is y uh, equal to, let's say, x plus 20. Y is equal to x plus 20. I'm just playing around, guys. Let's see what happens. Okay. What I want to do again, what I want to do is I will say equal to m equal to x plus y plus z. Guys, if you have a pen and paper with you, you can just at least guess the output. Write it down. I'll be doing the compilation and I'll be doing the running so that you can cross check your answers. You can write down. Maybe uh, I'll give you a few seconds. Just saving this. So I've declared variables x, y, z. I'm making z as 100. And then in my next line, I'm initializing x is equal to 50, y is equal to x plus 50, m is equal to x plus y plus z. Let's try to quickly compile this and see if this actually works or not. As I copy, what I do is Java C class name dot Java. Okay. So when I do this, yes, I'm able to compile Java and then class name. Now, when I say enter, did we actually print something over here? Oh, we did not even print it. Sorry. Dot println. What I want to print? What I want to print? I want to print x equal to plus x. Okay. So I want to print all the values, by the way. So I just copied this line and I'm pasting, guys. I'm not doing anything different. So I say y equal to and y. I want to say z equal to and z, and then I want to print n equal to. Okay. So let me quickly save this. Save this. I will compile it once more. Java C. What is my file name? This is variable 3. Copy dot Java. Yes, I'm able to compile Java and then this thing. So you can see this, guys. I will quickly copy this. Copy and will paste it here. You can cross check your answers as well. So what is this? X is equal to 50. Why is x 50? Because we just initialized this. We did not assign it to anything yet. The line number 650, we have just given the value as 50. Y is equal to 70. Why is y 70? Because y means x plus 20. What is x, by the way? 50. 50 plus 20 is 70. So what is the value of z? Z, we did not do anything with z. So z is just like that. It is just like that. There's no value change whatsoever. And then m, we are taking x plus y plus z. All right. So it is x plus y plus z. So 100 plus 50, 150, 1 plus 50 plus 70 is equal to 270. Right. So what I want to demonstrate over here is we can have multiple variables. We can interchangeably only declare it or initialize it, and then we can play around with these variables, and then we can interchangeably use all these things. So which means the point that I have written is that we have to initialize them, we can declare them, but we can use them in any interchangeable fashion. That is what I wanted to discuss in this particular program. Let's quickly even do one more thing. one simple, yeah, it would be simple after seeing many complex programs, but let's quickly try to write one more program. Let's say new, I'll say class, and then I have a new class called variable4. I'll say language and Java. So what I'm doing over here, I just open this. I want to say public static void main. So I want to open and I want to close. What is this? Let's say, oh, I have to write it over here. String array arguments. I want to declare a variable called x, and I want to make this as 200. Okay. I want to make this as 200. What I want to do again is I would like to write this once more. I do not want 200. I wanted 400. Okay, I wanted 400. Let me try to quickly print this. System dot println. What I do, I'll say x equal to and then plus x. So guys, quickly guess the output of it. You can guess the output of it so that we can print this. Okay, we already have saved this. Let's say save as dot Java. Okay, I saved this. Now let me try to run this one. Java C variable class name dot Java. Okay, so I think you might have already guessed the output. Let's see what it is. Oh, it says that variable x is already defined in main method. X is equal to 400. There is one error. It says variable x is already defined. What it means? X equal to 400. Boss, you have written x equal to 400. That I understand. The syntax that you followed is also good. But you have already defined that, which means you have already defined that on line number 5. Why are you doing that again on line number 6? That is what the compiler is asking me. My intention was not have x value as 200, but I want it to be 400. But compiler is saying I have already defined it once. I should not be doing it once more. I should not be doing it once more. So let me quickly write the notes for you. What is that? Variable can be only once in a method. A variable can be declared only once in a method. Particular variable. Maybe I can say particular variable can be declared only once in a method. We try to do it twice, but my intention is not have 200, but to have 400. So what do I need to do? If I need to do this, I need to reinitialize or reassign, right? I am deleting this int again. I modified this program. Line number 6 is modified now. I'm saving this. I'm saving this. Let's try to do it again.
Yeah, you're in mute, Karthik. Sorry, you're in mute. Please unmute yourself.
Is it so? It's been quite some
Yes,
time
yes,
that
you're
I'm
in
on
mute.
mute.
Yes, yes, when you are running from there.
Uh, I mean, is it quite far away or?
I mean, immediately 1 minute, yeah. When you are
Okay,
running,
okay,
right? Java variable name for you.
okay. Sure. So, guys, if you had missed this, okay. So what I did, I've written a new variable for class. I've declared on line number 5, I declared a variable called X. What I did is I reassigned it to a value called 400. Now I want to print this. So when I print this, I am getting this value as 400, right? Uh, this is what I have given. Now,
S- Same
yes, Shakti.
program, can you please print one more line in the top so that they also will aware. Same program, could you please
Okay.
go? System data order
Then,
println, can you print one more above as well? Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yes, you're right.
So line number 6. Okay, just for your confirmation, and thank you, Sashi, for this one. Let's say I'm saving this. Sorry, I say file and then save. So when I do this, what I did, I initialized the values 200. Now I'm trying to print it. Now I reassign the values 400. Right, I'm trying to print this. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I'll say Java C. What is my class name? My class name is this. Let's say right click copy dot Java. So I don't have any problem in compilation. Let me run this. When I do this, x equal to 200 and then x equal to 400. What it actually means, on line number 5, the x value is 200. That is what I printed on line number 6. On line number 7, I changed it to 400. That is what I'm printing on line number 8. That is what I have printed on line number 8. Okay. So these are the various combinations of using the variables, playing around with those variables, right? I've written a few rules that we have encountered. These are not rules that I have copied from somewhere. While doing these exercises, while writing these programs, I encountered a few things. That is what I have written as a notes for you. Right. So at this point of time, guys, you are well aware of what is a variable, how you can use these variables, what is a local variable, etc., etc. We have actually done some hands-on programming for the same. Now, I just want to quickly show you a few rules that we would be using while declaring these variables. This is very important. Now the code that I have written, the variables are named as X, the variables are named as Y, or the variables are named for our understanding purpose. We are not writing any project, right? We are not writing any employee management system. We are not writing any student management system. These programs we have written for our understanding. Now, let's say you are actually developing the software for a particular reason. Then there will be n number of variables. There will be so many variables that you need to declare, and you need to use different types of data types. But for those, there should be some rules that you need to keep in mind. I would like to just quickly go through or give you an overview of these so that you would be aware. Variable name should start with lowercase and followed by a camel case. Okay, I would like to give you a small example for this sake.
Can you please
So
increase the font of PDF? Yeah.
yes. Um, is this good?
Yeah, I think it's better.
Okay. So let me quickly try to take this rule and would like to show you an example. Okay. I've just taken this rule. What this rule says, this rule says variable name should start with lowercase followed by a camel case. So I can say my variable name something like this: employee name, right? This is one example. This is one example. I can say student name. Okay. Or I can say person permanent address. What it says is the variable name should start with lowercase followed by camel case. The variable name should start by lower followed by camel. Variable name should start by lower followed by camel. So this permanent P is capital, address A is capital, but for person P is small, right? This is what my one of the rules say. Let me go to the another one. Variable name can contain only letters, numbers, and underscores. They can start with letter or underscore, but not with a number. It should only contain letters, numbers, and underscores. So something like this. So something like this. I can have something like this. One employee. This is invalid. Why is it invalid? Because it cannot contain a number. It cannot start with number. Okay. And at the same time, employee 1 is valid. Why is it valid? Why is it valid? Because can contain only letters, numbers, and underscores, and they cannot start. They cannot start with an underscore or a number. So it can have a number. We don't have any problem, but it cannot start with it. So at the same time, it can have an underscore also. That is what it says. So which means even employee underscore 1 is also valid. But underscore employee 1 is invalid.
No, I think
Invalid.
you read it in a different way. It can start with underscore, not with a number. Right? Might be you read it in
Yeah.
a different way.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is valid. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what this rule tells me. Now let me go to the next one. Variable name cannot contain spaces. The separation of the words you can use underscores. This is what my rule says. So when I take this one as an example, it cannot contain space. So here, if you can see student name. Okay, I told that this is a valid variable name. This is valid, right? This is valid, but this is invalid. This is invalid. Why is it invalid? The variable name cannot contain spaces. If you want any separation, then you have to use underscore. Okay, so let me write invalid. If you want any separation, then you have to use underscore. So what this one says is I can use a underscore. I can write something like this. I can write something like this. This is valid, but you cannot have a space. This is what my another rule says. One more is case sensitive. Variable names are case sensitive, which means small h and capital AGE. This both are different. Similarly, like for example, if I have a variable in my variable2.java, I declared x equal to 10. Let's say I want to print x, but in a capital X, right? If I want to do something like this, the name is same, x is same, but this is having a different case. So it is not recognized as the same. Just for just to make this clear, maybe I would like to run this. Okay, what do I need to do? Java C. This is which class, by the way? Variable2. Let's say copy, and I say copy dot Java. So here you see, guys, it says cannot find symbol called x. What did I do? I declared it as small x, but I am trying to access capital X. Even though this is small x and this is capital X, this both are two different variables in Java's perspective. All right. This is what my another rule says. This is already said descriptive. Let me not have one more example. So this one. Okay. What is my next rule saying? Avoid reserved words. Java do not use reserved words, keywords for variable names. Let's say I want to name my variable as int. Here, I want to say a reserved word. So int is a reserved word in Java. Let's say I want to name my variable as int. Then Java doesn't allow. right? So there are list of reserved words or the keywords, which maybe I'd be giving you that set to you in the later classes. But one thing is you should not use reserved words. Okay. Now, one more thing is give them meaningful names, right? I cannot just give, like, for example, I want to actually store, I want to actually store the student name, right? But I cannot give a variable name as Mercy. That doesn't make any sense. Mercy means like it is our institute name. If my intention is to store the student name, I cannot just name anything. So that is one more thing that we need to keep in mind. And the last rule says you need to keep the length in control. Like for example, I cannot name my variable very big, right? I think theoretically, I'm not sure what is the control of number of characters, but like for example, I want to store a student name. I cannot have a variable that is like 100 characters long. Even it doesn't look good, even though Java allows us. It feels like a very dumb programming, right? We should make sure that we follow all these rules so that we become a better programmer. And knowing these rules is must and should, so that you use these in your day-to-day programming. It's not that I have this many set of rules, okay, I learn it, I leave it. It's not like that. You have to make it a day-to-day practice. So with this, we are good with today's agenda. What was our today's agenda? Our agenda was to learn data types and variables. Shashi, maybe you can take this further.
Thank you.